Well, friends, it's finally time to put the floor on this house. So friends, I left all the bracing on the ICF walls, and that's worked really good. I've done a lot of the work for the floor off this bracing. It's got all the joists laid out, and I'm just tacking them a little bit in place here, and then I'll come back and nail them. I think there's certainly a bit of irony here to carrying all these joists past my crane. But by the time you hook them up and unhook them and move the crane around, you could have already had two in place. I got a 14-foot span, which is pretty long for 2x10s. So I try and use these nice clear looking ones. And when you buy 80 joists, you're gonna have to pick through them. There's some here that I would never ever use, and I'll show you. I really don't love boards with the pith, the center of the tree. You can see this board, it's got the pith in it, and it always cracks. It's probably fine, but I'm not gonna use board like that on some of my longest runs. What this is here, actually, going up the board too, you can see it. It's actually brown rot, and just because it's kiln dried doesn't mean that's dead. Now it's a floor joist and it's never gonna get wet. This is never enough to be a structural issue, but I can see rarely, like you look at this one here, that's quite a bit of rot. Yeah, look at this, I would call that. This is gonna be in the bottom, the tension side of my joist, in the most crucial area. It's knots like this that I call out of these joists. That is the only pain in the ass, is going through that damn window every time. See, I want all these to be nice and level. Gotta be careful not to get too fussy either. I've been pretty fussy about this. Make sure all the joists are nice and level, and then my house is gonna sit level too. Even if you build this floor though, friends, dead level, you're gonna have more sag where there's more weight. The old drill and reverse trick. Well, today has been a great day. I got as many joists set here as I can today. There's a huge amount of work left to do, but when it's actually time to just come out here and work, it's usually just the easiest. I was looking forward to today, you know, it's just a fun day because all the hard work is done. Throwing these joists up after doing all the meticulous planning at every stage of the build so that this will work, now it's just quite simple. I got stairs coming down into the basement, and I have a big fireplace here, and there's a special amount of beams and detail here. Like, it gets hard because I've never built a big fireplace and I don't know how things are gonna tie in here. So that's one thing. Anywhere upstairs where you have walls for bedrooms and stuff, like non-load bearing walls, I'm trying to get joists underneath them so that the floor won't sag there. But I also got walls that are plumbing walls, so I don't want joists in the road there or anywhere that's going to interfere with any of the plumbing of the house, which again, I don't fully know where it's all going to go. So I'm just gluing together some boards to laminate some more beams, just like how I did in the last video there making the main beams. And I'll show you why here real shortly. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I want to do here. Definitely not supposed to use screws when you're framing a floor like this. The issue is a screw like this, whenever it bends, like how a floor will, when it flexes, every time you walk across it, they got a tendency of getting brittle and breaking, whereas a nail kind of, it's better at allowing for that movement. But you know, when you're doing something like this and you got all this blocking, screws do such a good job of sucking things together and pulling everything nice and tight and keeping things straight. And so that's kind of why I'm just tacking things together like that. Gives me the option to move things around, or if I put the beam and need to slightly adjust it, then I can move it. So that's why I'm doing that. Then I'll come back and nail the hell out of it. I'll try and show you with the drone here, friends, but I tried to keep these really nice and straight. The joys. These big beams, I mean, this lumber is so twisted, it's just almost impossible to build a perfectly straight beam. It looks straight, but both of these are a little bit this way. Let's see if I can pull this in. It might work a fucking charm. You'd see there's a gap because this needs to rotate. The gap over here, and maybe these things shouldn't drive me crazy, but they do, so. I got it pulled in together here nice, and now I'm just installing the brackets. So when you put these hangers on, they actually stick out on the bottom a bit. If you're gonna put anything on the ceiling, which I'm not sure if that'll be an issue or it'll be suspended or not, you have this sticking out and it's gonna interfere with your ceiling material. So just in case, I cut these small little notches, you know, 1/8 of an inch or whatever, and that way it sits flush and it won't be an issue for your drywall or whatever. I'm wondering if a little bit of construction adhesive like this will prevent the floors from squeaking at these joists. That's my hope anyway. I hope I'm not just getting glue all over myself here for no reason. This is a double joist hanger, so we got two 2x10s here. I also have triples, but they're not, it's only where they're flush like this, so you get a good strong connection here. And I'll get them up, and then I've been using a combination of, these are from the manufacturer specifically for joist hangers, and 3.5-inch nails. Good stuff. Well, friends, I gotta take all this bracing off the ICF because it's in the way now of the next steps for the floor. But it's been really nice to have it on here to do this work. But now all it seems I do is climb up there and smoke my head off a joist. Not the nicest of days today, but every day counts because winter's coming quick and I got a long list of stuff to get done. I'm also really behind on my videos. It feels big in here now, friends. Does it ever? What a difference. After I set all these joists, the next thing I wanted to do, friends, was come here and put my level and level down the center of this. Make sure that my beam and everything, see if I had to make any adjustments here, because all the way around the perimeter is perfectly level. But these joists are actually so fucking crooked. They're very hard to even level before you get the blocking in. Like the ends are going so crazy every way. Well, friends, it's really quite difficult to to film up here by myself. I got the drone going. I'm running around after it here half the day. But you can see what I'm dealing with here, like how twisted this joist is. Putting the blocks just the right size and then kind of just wedging it in there, you know, and then if they're perfectly straight cuts, it sets the ends of these joists just real level. It's hard to even level because when the joists are not flat on top, it actually sets that edge high, and I basically had to do this. Okay, now I climb down, put the drone away. I have never owned one of these before, and I seen it. It was quite fairly reasonably priced. It was one of the less expensive ones with good reviews. And I bought it, of course, because I think it's gonna save me a lot of time with what I gotta do on this floor here. Oops. Beautiful. It is damn frosty out here this morning, guys. Which makes everything pretty slick. I got a lot of work to do up here. It'll go a lot better after lunch. Let's see what I'm doing. All these joists, they need braced. This is a huge floor. There are so many angled pieces. So you can definitely see why I bought the skill saw, or the miter saw. There's probably over 150 double angled pieces. You know, you sit there with the square all day, or you could just have that set to the right angle and move along pretty quick. I'm gonna have a big old cup of tea once today is over. This weather is just fucking horrendous. So if I'm walking across this floor and I step right here, only one joist is really going to be bending. But that's why I'm doing this. These are GRK structural screws. They're more expensive, but they work really well for this. So I'm doing this, there's no toe nailing. I designed these pieces so that they were intentionally a bit short so that they're never hitting the floor. So even though the ends of these joists are perfectly straight, these bow so much that they're out this way and they're twisted. And this can, if I'm careful, not only straighten it out perfectly, but line all these studs up so that they're exactly in the right place. It is a little excessive, but I like to put the level on these. This takes a long time to do, probably longer than I've spent on putting all the joists on. But it's just $1 million how it's turning out. It's not very expensive to do. And then it makes this floor really stiff. Because now watch, I step here, the weight bends down here, but it's also transferring weight onto the neighboring joists all the way along. And then I'm using this blocking to straighten out these joists. So when I snap this subfloor on here, every single joist is bang on where it needs to be. So friends, this impact and this hammer and a lot of the tools I use I've owned for a really long time. I built my cabin years ago with these tools and I get a lot of use out of them. I remember when I was building my cabin, I had all wood siding on the inside and outside and I hand nailed it all and I got 1,000 comments and it was like, Get a nail gun. Have you ever heard of a nail gun? It's like, yeah, shit. I'm very happy, guys, now to be in a position where I can start to buy these tools that save me a lot of time, and slowly over several years here now, I've been able to build up the tools I have and put them to a lot of work and get my money out of them. And I've never owned a nail gun. So I just bought my first nail gun. I'm very excited about it. It's one of the most expensive tools I've bought in a long time, but it's gonna save me several hours here today nailing this floor and on many other projects, I'm sure. I will be honest with you though, friends, I've never even used a nail gun before. So I'm gonna read the instructions here and get right back to you. I am fighting Mother Nature, which is just no good. But what do I do, friends? It's winter here from October to April. If I don't do what I can every day, this will never happen. I've done so much work over the winter for so many years in a row, so I can be where I'm at now, and I just gotta keep taking it day by day. I mean, I'll go crazy if I can't work on this for half the year. Fucking snow. So, more blocking yet still, friends, because this is not just the floor, but it's also where this log house is gonna sit. Everything gets harder with the log house. This log house weighs substantially more, so I have to put all this blocking here to carry the weight to the foundation. Wood is extremely strong in this orientation, like putting the block down like this. It's also quite respectably strong in both this direction and this direction, although different, but it's really performs well like this as a post, and it's no wonder, that's the way the tree grows. Even more interesting, it's very weak when you pull it this way and extremely strong when you pull it this way in tension. So all this blocking is a hell of a lot of work. I spent more time on blocking than anything, friends, but this will make a really excellent result. All the weight from this log house goes down into the double rim joist and into the joist, and mainly these pressure blocks here all the way around. So it should be extremely good. So 1.5 inches to hold it down, and then a 2.5 inch to drill through both rim joists and secure everything, anchor the whole floor and house down. So the bolts hold this board to the concrete foundation. These bolts go right into the concrete, and then all of these brackets hold the floor, anchor the floor, and eventually the house to the foundation. The middle and the outside, it's exceptionally level. But what quite often happens is when you butt these two ends up, sometimes the one end will twist up, or sometimes the two joists where they overlap are a different dimension. You know, they're all supposed to be 9 1/4, but quite often you'll have one that's 9 1/8 and then 9 3/8, and then you put them together and you're like, what the fuck is going on? I'm just fixing the smallest of imperfections. But damn, am I happy with this result. Holy smoke. So you can see here, the one joist is sitting higher than the other one, even though they're sitting on exactly the same place. And now you can see, just shaved a little bit off and now it's perfect. With all this bracing, it's sure been stiff walking on this floor. I'm glad I spent a hell of a lot of time on that. Okay, this thing's making my money back every time I use it. So nailing all the joists into the beams. Oh, maybe not like that though. And then nailing the ends together. So now that the framing is done, I'm going to put a plywood subfloor on here, and that'll be the base for the main level of the log house. This will be the floor you walk on for the log house. I'm a little worried about doing that because when you put the snow on there and it starts melting and you get freezing rain, it could ruin the plywood, so I don't know when I'll do that. But really, this was a super enjoyable project for me, and I'm really proud of how it turned out. The joists, I had these set really quite quickly. Most of what you see here I had set in good time. When it gets down to all that fine tuning of getting this perfectly level and all the joists perfectly straight and well braced and all the anchoring and blocking, and then of course the filming, trying to balance cameras up here, took me a long time. There's no doubt about it, but I am extremely happy with the result. This is going to make a great floor for the log house, as well as a perfectly level base to sit the log house on. So I think the effort I put in now should really pay off here down the line. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to keep giving her. I've been lucky, the winter's been fairly nice, but I have so much work to do here before things are really froze up, and I got to get this basement backfilled. So thanks for watching, friends, and I hope everyone is doing just great.